Welcome to the dark corner of true crime, where we unreveal the mysteries behind the headlines. You're listening to Mona Reads. Now let's get into it. Lori Vallow is what the internet calls Doomsday Cult Mom. In 2015, Lori got interested in Chad Daybell's Standing in Holy Places series. Then, in 2018, at a Preparing a People event, Chad claims that him and Lori had been married in multiple previous lives. On December 5th, 2018, Chad and Lori appeared together on a Preparing People podcast where Chad informed a group and told their followers they belonged to Church of the Firstborn, Chad as their leader. Lori Vallow, born Lori Noreen Cox, was born on June 26, 1973 in California. She was born to a Mormon family. In 1992, at 19 years old, she married her high school sweetheart, which ended shortly. In 1995, she married again and had a son named Colby in 1996. By 1998, she was divorced. In 2004, she entered the Miss Texas beauty pageant. Later on, she married Joseph Anthony Ryan Jr., who legally adopted Colby. This is by the year 2001. Tylee was born in 2002. By the year 2005, Joseph Anthony Ryan Jr. and Lori Vallow were divorced. It ended in a very ugly custody battle, and Lori even claimed that Ryan assaulted Tylee and Colby. Ryan lost equal custody. In 2006, Lori Vallow married Charles Anthony Vallow. Together, they adopted Charles' grandnephew, Joshua Vallow, who they also called JJ. His parents weren't able to care for him. In 2007, Alex, who is Lori Vallow's brother, attacked Charles and claims he hurt Lori and the kids. He later went to jail. Now, let's get back to Chad. Chad Guy Daybell, born on August 11, 1968 in Provo, Utah, to a Mormon family. What is a Mormon? Mormons are a religious group that embraces Christianity. They also embrace their own distinct set of values and practices. Mormons primarily belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as LDS. Chad Daybell was an apocalyptic author and publisher who says he had visions of the future and also has lived through multiple lives. Chad met his wife Tammy in March of 1990. They had 5 children. He also was a copy editor at the time. In the 2000s, the Daybells faced some hardship, so Chad got a job again as a cemetery sexton. Now, after they appeared on the Preparing People podcast together, Lori disappeared for 55 days in February of 2019. After Charles, her husband, filed for divorce. He also changed his beneficiary to his sister without letting Lori know. Lori and Chad believed in reincarnation, which was against the LDS Church. They also claimed, because of their past lives and marriages, that they are bound together. Charles eventually found out about Lori and Chad Daybell's affair. He also emailed Tammy to let her know. In July 2019, Charles went to pick up JJ from Lori's home in Arizona. Alex, Lori's brother, was there. After an altercation, Alex and Unalive Charles claims it was self-defense. In August of 2019, Lori relocated to Rexburg, Idaho with Tylee and JJ. Alex, her brother, also moved. Tylee was last seen September 8, 2019 at the Yellowstone with JJ and Lori and Alex. She never went to school, but her mother said she attended BYU, Idaho. September 23, 2019 was the last time that JJ was seen playing with a friend on a doorbell camera. He was last seen at school on September 20th. On September 23, 2019, Lori informed JJ's school that she would be homeschooling him after he was absent that day from school. On October 2, 2019, Brandon Beaudreau, husband of Lori's niece, was shot at from a Jeep while driving home. The bullets missed, but he got the plate number and gave it to the police. And the police said it belonged to Charles Vallow. On October 9, 2019, Tammy reported being shot at in her driveway by an unknown man. The man pulled the trigger several times, but it was unloaded. 10 days later, she would be found unalive in her home from natural causes. Chad said she had a bad cough from the previous night and unalived in her sleep. Chad received an insurance payout of $430,000. On November 5, 2019, Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow got married. On November 26, 2019, the police did a welfare check at Lori's townhouse as a request of JJ's grandmother. Lori told the police that he was with a friend in Arizona. When the police contacted that friend, she said he had not been there in months. Same night, the neighbor watched Alex and Lori pack a truck outside of their home. The following day, the FBI and the police searched the home and it was empty. Chad and Lori had already moved to Hawaii, where they lived in a gated community. While they were searching for a home, Chad wrote on an application that they had no kids. Later on, prosecutors in Idaho got involved when the police requested a warrant for the Jeep that shot at Brandon. In December 6, 2019, Melanie Gibbs contacted police to report that Lori asked her to tell the police that JJ was with them. Because of the checkup for JJ, police discovered that Tylee was also missing. In December 20th, 2019, Rexburg police announced that the children was officially missing, and Chad and Lori were announced a person of interest the next day. Colby Ryan, Lori's son, issued a message asking his mom and stepdad to return the children. On January 25, 2020, Lori and Chad were in Kauai. Law enforcement served them with court orders requiring them to physically produce the children within 5 days. After it became known to Brandon that the kids were missing, he believed the unalive of Charles and the disappearance of the kids and the attempted unalive of his life was connected to Lori's cult. On December 12, 2019, Alex Cox was unalive due to blood clots and high blood pressure. February 20th, 2020, Lori was arrested. March of the same year, she was extradited back to Idaho. Lori faced 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children and 3 misdemeanors. Her bail was set at $5 million, but was later on reduced to $1 million. After months of searching, on June 9, 2020, police found remains buried in the backyard of Chad Daybell's home. They were found in an area the Daybell family called the Pet Cemetery. Chad was arrested, and his bond was set at $1 million. Tylee was burned with hands cut off, and JJ was wrapped in plastic. JJ was asphyxiated with plastic and duct tape over his mouth. Tylee's cause of unalive was not determined because of the state of her body. Her bones were almost fractured, like someone attempted to dismember her. On July 2nd, they dropped the charges and charged Lori with obstruction and concealment of evidence regarding her children's remains. Her bond was lowered to $150,000, and Chad was still the same. Police discovered that Alex Cox, Lori's brother, participated in some of the crimes, but he was unalive before they could bring him to justice. The police tracked Alex's phone, and it showed that he searched the internet for the directions to Brandon's home, and Alex had been present near Brandon's home before the day of the shooting. Tammy's body was never autopsied due to Chad's refusal and the coroner's acceptance of his decision. However, after Tammy's body was autopsied, it was determined she had been asphyxiated by someone else. Completed February 2021 and were not public until April 2023 during Lori's trial. May 25th of 2021, Chad and Lori were indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, the unalive of Tylee and JJ and Tammy, grand theft by deception regarding the kids. Lori was charged with grand theft related to the SSA benefits that the kids got from the dad. Chad faced it insurance fraud related to Tammy's life insurance. On May 27, 2021, Lori was found incompetent and unfit to stand trial. On April 11, 2022, she was deemed competent to stand trial after a mental health treatment. On October 6, after Lori's attorney filed several motions, the judge issued an order indicating the case was suspended. On November 16, she was once again competent to stand trial. Both Lori and Chad pleaded not guilty to all the charges in Idaho. Their cases were split in March of 2023 at Chad's request. The reason was that Chad had waived his right to a speedy trial because Lori wanted a speedy trial. March 21, 2023, the judge removed an unalive penalty from Lori Vallow Daybell due to newly uncovered DNA evidence. Lori Vallow trial began April 3, 2023 in Idaho, and she did not testify in her own defense. Her lawyers didn't call any witnesses. In closing arguments, Lori's attorney said that Chad Daybell used his psychological control to control Lori. On May 12, 2023, Lori Vallow Daybell was found guilty of all criminal charges. On July 31, 2023, she was sentenced to consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole for, respectively, the unalive of Tylee, the unalive of JJ, and the conspiracy to commit unalive charges to Tammy, in addition to fines and restitution for the grand theft charges. The judge said that Valo Daybell had unalived her children to remove them as obstacles and to profit financially by choosing the most evil and destructive path possible and going down a bizarre religious rabbit hole to justify her unalivings. Before her sentence, Lori had made her first public statement since her arrest. She said that she had been speaking to Jesus, and she has been speaking to her children as well as Tammy, and said that they were happy and extremely busy in heaven. She also said, Jesus Christ knows that no one was unalive in this case. Accidental unalives happen, suicides happen, fatal side effects of medication happens. In November 2023, Lori was extradited to Arizona to face her 2 conspiracy charges there, which she pleaded not guilty to. On November 9th, 2023, Chad Daybell legal team filed 3 motions to remove the unalive penalty in his case. The filed motion stated that Lori had manipulated Chad through emotional and sexual control, and that Chad had lesser culpabilities than his co-defendant, who did not face the unalive penalty. The motions were denied in December. Chad Daybell trial opened on April 10, 2024. In the opening statement, they said, "A man motivated by sex, money, and power, and craving for significance, who saw his spouse and Lori's children as obstacles to his rightful destiny. Chad's attorney painted him as a religious man who had been lured into an inappropriate relationship with Lori Vallow." On May 16, Chad defense team filed a motion for acquittal after it appeared had incorrectly listed J.J. Vallow's unalive as it occurred between September 8th to 9th in 2019 instead of September 22nd to 23rd. The judge ruled that as clerical error and was not ground for acquittal. Chad did not take the stand. During the closing arguments, Chad prosecutor says, "The evidence that pointed to Chad's crucial role is coordinating and giving a religious justification to the unalivers, prior painting Lori and Alex Cox as the true culprit, stating that Lori had been motivated by greed and she had manipulated Chad all along, and Chad would likely have been her next victim." On May 30th, 2024, the jury found Chad Daybell guilty of first-degree unalive and conspiracy in the unalive of Tammy, Tylee, and JJ. He was also found guilty of grand theft by deception related to the children unaliving and the insurance fraud related to Tammy. June 1st, 2024, he was sentenced to unalive. For the insurance fraud charges, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Here's a chart of how everyone is connected. Let me know your theories down below in the comments. Until next time, this is Mona Reads.